Hello and welcome to the first of a short series of videos around Playful Magic. So I've been playing a little game of Playful Magic lately, really getting into playing more with imagination, with intentions, and having a feeling of lightness around it. And what I've noticed, which has been quite interesting before I get into the content of this video, is the resistance that comes up for me when I am stepping forward into this different identity, different way of living. So what I want to say first off is if you're feeling a lot of resistance about anything you're going through, about evolving, sharing something different, changing into your next level identity that you can feel coming through, like this is all normal, because if we didn't have the resistance, we'd already be doing what it was that we'd been imagining or feeling coming through us. So that's the first thing, is resistance is normal. I think it's just about gently moving through. So although it's very, very hot weather here in the UK, I just thought I'm going to just do some of these short videos, get them out, get them started, and then the momentum is flowing in the new direction. So another little thing for you to think about today is what's the smallest step you can take in the direction. So to break through some of the resistance, just to peel off like one of those little layers of resistance, is what can I do right now in the direction of where I'm going? So here I am. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is something that's really worked for me on multiple layers and levels and dimensions in the last few years. And it sounds almost like too simple. And a lot of these tips are going to sound really simple. And that's the beauty of them. And this one is about walking, going for walks. And there's a huge amount of research and also stories from famous artists, creators, writers, where they get their ideas where they're out for a walk. They see something in nature, or they get an idea, or their intuition starts to work. So going for a walk is amazing on a number of levels. Firstly, it's really good to get out, get some daylight. It's good for your mental well-being, happy hormones, all that kind of stuff. It's also really great physically. It gets my body moving. I live in quite a hilly city, so I'm quite often walking up hills, which is good for my cardio. But the other things that are more about the intangibles are really going for a walk. And I have my phone with me for noting things down, or taking photos, or sometimes just sharing the beauty with other people, which is part of my gratitude and appreciation. But it's not listening to anything. I haven't got a podcast on. I'm not staring at my phone as I walk along. I'm really present in the environment that I'm in. And this is really important. I've kind of trained myself. I lived down by the sea about 10 years ago or so for a couple of years. And I was in early recovery from breakdown, addiction, burnout. And I used to go walking a lot just to really help my mental health, to get me worn out so that I would sleep better and all this kind of stuff. And I've just carried on doing it because it works so well for me. Being outside, seeing people, saying hello to people, smiling at people, but really just absorbing the environment that I'm in, whether that's the architecture of the city that I'm in, looking at beautiful buildings or carvings, features on the buildings. At the moment, it's spring is in full bloom. It's May here in the UK. Noticing what flowers are blooming this week, because there's a schedule, you know, as soon as spring starts with sort of the snowdrops and crocuses, then it's like, oh, it's magnolia week, and now it's cherry blossom week, and now it's a different week, and there's different things coming out that I used to be aware of the seasons when I was working and driving backwards and forwards and maybe going for an occasional walk. But because I'm out a lot, pretty much every day, I notice these really subtle changes, like, oh, that was in full bloom last week and now it's dying off, but these things are coming out. So I feel way more connected to kind of nature and the cycles of nature. I take loads of photographs of beautiful flowers and buildings and post them on my socials, and also send them to my friends, and just help people really to like appreciate the beauty that we're all surrounded by. And that we can access at any point. So that's really good for us. There's also something called neuroaesthetics that I've come across recently, which is it's kind of neuroscience, how our neurology is rewired by looking at beautiful things. So that's just underlined to me the importance of going out and looking at beauty and appreciating it, maybe photographing it. And I also did a little webinar the other day, watched a webinar by somebody, and she was talking about mindful photography, which is exactly this, which is being very present in our environment, noticing things, photographing things, appreciating things, and feeling more connected to the environment, the world, the city or town or village you live in, the surroundings that you're in, and that kind of thing. Almost like as a way just to connect to ourselves through the environment that we're in and the beauty that's there. So that's another really beautiful thing about going for a walk. And as far as playful magic, so that's kind of playful to look for things and to appreciate things. I know it's good for my mental well-being. And when we're walking, what happens as well in neuroscience is our frontal lobe, the overthinking bit or the thinking bit, the logical bit, all like slows down, and the circulation changes because we're moving our body, and we can access much deeper wisdom. We can access our unconscious. We can access the wisdom that's in our bodies because we're moving our bodies. We're connected to our bodies. We can be looking out for things. And when I lived in Bournemouth, I used to have this thing called van wisdom. And I started getting signs and clues and messages from the sides of vans. And I just found this so much fun. I'd go out for a walk and I'd be like, right, universe, give me a message. And some of the vans walking past would just have a word or a phrase on that. I'd go, oh, that's what I want. And I called it van wisdom. And there's some photographs on my socials from a few years ago of this kind of, it turned into a bit of a project and a bit of a joke, but it was also really playful. And it's like, what signs am I going to get from a van today? Like really fun. But what I also find is that because my logical thinky brain, I normally kind of do brain work in the morning and then walk in the afternoon. And I've done some work and I've been thinking of projects or doing some stuff in my business or imagining the future that I'm manifesting. It's like I shut that logical side down and I allow my deeper wisdom to come through. So I go for a walk and I just let whatever needs to come out, come out. I make notes on my phone and I write things down and I'm like, oh, it feels so much clearer because I'm outside, I'm in a space, I'm moving my body, I'm not overthinking, and the kind of the wisdom can flow through. And a lot of things are like, you know, go for a 20-minute walk around the block. I mean, I personally quite like an hour and a half or so, but I've got an hour and a half to spend. So I could be going for a walk. There's a couple of places in this city that I live in, one which is the harbour side, which is a huge, wide, expanse of inland water. And there's always boats on there and there's beautiful, colourful houses up the hill. And it just satisfies me on multiple sensory levels. And it's always different, it's always changing. When I lived by the beach, I liked walking along the seafront, different times of day, different moon cycles, different seasons, different things happening. And it's like seeing the similarities and getting used to doing the same walk. I'm sure if you walk the same places a lot or you've got a dog, you go in the same things, but there's always differences in the sky, in the weather, in the season, in the people that you spot, in maybe somebody's redecorated their house or there's something different in a beach hut or you know, something's changed along the way. And being able to spot these and really appreciate them is beautiful. So that's my first thing about playful magic is go for a walk. You might want to set an intention and then ask the universe to give you some clarity. I've done this before. When I knew that I wanted to change my life, we were coming out of lockdown. So it would be 2021. I knew I had to release some stuff to make space for what was coming. And I went for a walk and I asked, what do I need to let go of to allow space for the next version of myself or the next chapter to emerge or arrive? And the answer then was, excuse me, let go of Facebook. Now, at this point, I was working with a mentor who had a Facebook group, and I really loved being in the group. Part of me was like, what is that? That guidance feels weird. And then the other part of me went, oh my God, that feels so spacious not to be on there, not to be on Facebook, and to release. You know, I've been running a business through Facebook previously, and just to kind of go, okay, what if I do that? What actually happened was that I practiced consciously uncoupling from Facebook. So I fell into it and I went, this is the right decision. I didn't know how long it would be. I aimed for, I thought, okay, around the summer solstice, maybe I'll do it. And it was one particular day on a Sunday when I told people I wouldn't be on Facebook anymore. I'd stay on Instagram, but not on Facebook. And I just knew it was the day. And so I was like, today's the day. I won't be on Facebook for a while. And I actually had 2 years where I wasn't on Facebook at all up until 2023, when again, I worked with a mentor who had a Facebook group and I really wanted to be in there for the group. Now it's so full of clutter. I spent very little time on it, but it was really interesting to ask a question, get a download, feel in two minds about it, and then see what happened on the back of that. And what did happen on the back of that was I shut down my Facebook. And one evening, we were again in and out of we'd been in and out of lockdown, and I spent a lot of time at home. And one evening, I thought, I'm going to go and see what's happening on Facebook. And I was like, oh, I can't because I'm not on it anymore. But I was kind of opening my laptop. And then I got a message, like as clear as anything, go to the We the Curious website and see if they've got any jobs. And I was kind of looking for some way of, I was doing money manifestation at the time and thinking it would be through my business that the money came in. And literally this guidance was, because I didn't have Facebook to go to, as I opened my laptop, the guidance dropped in and went, oh, go to this particular website and see if they've got any jobs. And if you know me, you've been following my story for a while, you will know that I applied for a job there and had my interview, funnily enough, on solstice morning at 9 a.m. And I was offered the job a couple of days later on the day of the full moon, just as I was about to go to Glastonbury up the Tor with my friend to watch the moon come up and the sunrise. And so even though it was a very practical thing, it was a very mystical, magical way that that job dropped in. And I applied for an 8-week job, got my 8-week job over the summer and stayed there for nearly 3 years. Thus manifesting a lot more money than I had set in my intention. So this is just a little bit of the magic of using going for a walk to stimulate your body, to get yourself out of your brain, to appreciate the surroundings around you, to ask the universe for signs. It might come dropped in if you're clairaudient like me. You might hear a message, you might see something, you might overhear a conversation, you might literally have your body physically guided into a shop or down a particular road. I have that with mine as well. Like I literally go, oh, my body wants to go in this direction, and I just follow it. And it could take you anywhere. So let me know how this works for you. Maybe set an intention and go for a walk, and let me know how you get on. And I'll share my next tip again very soon. Bye-bye.